the game against Republic of Ireland tomorrow night, but of course this will dominate. And you just know that this subject will have hurt Gareth Southgate an awful lot, because he personally is so very careful with the language that he uses. He's educated himself very much on the issue of diversity, but more than that, the players you're looking at now, he has a real empathy with all of those young players, whatever their background, and he has encouraged the likes of Sterling and Rashford to speak out and become role models in wider society, talking about those issues of race and inequality, and obviously in Rashford's case, child poverty and nutrition as well. And he stood along those players. We've been there with him when he's called out racism in Bulgaria and Montenegro. I've seen the upset in Southgate's face inside the tunnel at Montenegro when he had to talk about the fact that his young players had faced racist chanting out there. So it'll be really interesting to hear what Southgate's view is, what he has to say when we speak to him later on tonight. But of course he has a match to prepare for as well, that game against Republic of Ireland tomorrow night. And indeed they've got to sort out whether they're going to be playing against Iceland a week today, and if they are, in which country, because of the new strain of coronavirus that they've discovered out in Denmark, which has put a UK government ban on the Icelandic players coming into here once they've played in Denmark. But the man you're looking at there, Tyrone Mings, he was the man who had to deal with all of these issues related to Greg Clark's comments in that live news conference yesterday. Clark actually resigned while Mings was talking to us live, and he called Clark's comments unacceptable. But he didn't vilify the FA chairman, which I thought was really interesting. He said, Tyrone Mings, that this is a matter of education, and people have assumed perhaps too much that it's a matter of educating just young people. There are people from all generations who need to understand the issues of diversity and the importance of it. But if you focus on football now and move away from all of that issue that the FA are dealing with on a much bigger scale, for Mings himself, on the field, he told us it's undoubtedly been the best point of his career so far. Aston Villa absolutely flying in the Premier League. Look at that, he's playing with Conor Cody. It looks like a rock, paper, scissors game they're playing there. They always have a different fitness drill to start sessions, England, and this is one we haven't seen before. But look, Mings hasn't actually played that much for England of late in recent matches. He played against Wales, came on for the last half an hour as a friendly, but he's missed the other 4 England games despite being in the squad, so he'll be desperate to play tomorrow night against Republic of Ireland. And you think, because of the fact that England have got 3 games in 7 days, there's a good chance that may well happen. But enough of Mings, let's talk about Jude Bellingham, because he is an extraordinary story and one of the real headlines of this squad. There he is, look. He looks comfortable, he looks relaxed, he's smiling as Jack Grealish tries to catch him, the 2 Midlands men, one from the blue side of Birmingham, one from the claret and blue side of Birmingham. But what a story Jude Bellingham is, absolutely extraordinary. 17 years old. To put it into perspective, he is still driven to training every day by his mum out in Borussia Dortmund, because he isn't old enough to drive under the German rules, and yet here he is now in the senior England squad. We said only back in September that he had jumped 4 age groups to go from the under-17s to the under-21s. Well, he only had 2 camps with the under-21s before he's been called up now to the senior squad. Absolutely extraordinary. And all the firsts that have happened to him in the last year or so. Birmingham City retiring the number 22 shirt in his honour when he left them and went to Dortmund. A £25 million signing for Borussia Dortmund, the youngest ever, the biggest price ever paid for a 17-year-old. And he's been playing quite a lot out in Dortmund, and that's what's earned him this call-up. 11 appearances already for Dortmund this season. He started 6 of those. He's very much part of the first team plans for Dortmund. 3 games in the Champions League as well. 1 goal, 2 assists. But I think the reason he's in there is because Gareth Southgate has been looking for a traditional number 8, a proper box-to-box midfielder. And the fact that he's only got 6 midfielders in this entire squad perhaps hints that he hasn't got the depth in that position that he would necessarily want. And Jude Bellingham, he and the rest of the FA coaches think is one for the future, very much in that role. So will he get some game time against the Republic of Ireland? I think it makes sense, in truth. There was a lot of discussion about why Ross Barkley hasn't got the call-up. I understand why, from a Southgate perspective. There's nothing he needs to learn about Ross Barkley. He understands perfectly what the Aston Villa man can bring to an England squad. Jude Bellingham, he knows nothing about. How's he going to fit into this environment? That's why Jude Bellingham's in, and the likes of Ross Barkley, despite his great form for Villa, perhaps isn't. And speaking of Villa, we've seen Jack Grealish there, look just to the right, and we ought to talk about him as well, because this is going to be an extraordinary game for him if he's involved. Not only is he in outstanding form for Aston Villa, as we've already discussed, but of course his connections with the Republic of Ireland. It'll be particularly poignant for him, I think, if he does play. He was with the Republic of Ireland as a junior, even played 6 under-21 internationals for the boys in green before pledging his allegiance to England. So that'll be fascinating to see whether he does feature. And if he does, well, he's always controversial, isn't he? The pundits you speak to, the fans you speak to, they're either desperate for him to be included in the starting 11 for England in every single game, or they never want him involved. He's an enigma. He offers something very different. But he's been in outstanding form for Aston Villa, that is without doubt. 4 goals, 5 assists already this season. He's in great form. Will he get the chance? Well, we'll see. And we should get more of an answer when we speak to Gareth Southgate later on. Remember, that will be brought to you on Sky Sports News from 6:30 this evening. All matters about the game, the upcoming Nations League games, but crucially, Rob, also the issue of Greg Clark, the FA chairman's resignation, and the words he used. Where does the FA go from here? What does Gareth Southgate make about it? More analysis throughout the day on Sky Sports News.
Some of the shots in Nick Pope. So I couldn't break that. I couldn't see him.
Right, who else do we need shots of?
Just mention Nick Pope. Nick Pope will be in goal tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we just do a bit of Marty into Pope and goal.
Yeah,
no,
sure.
thanks, mate.
Oh, we've got him.
Where is Southgate, mate? I need some shots.
Okay, right.
I can't.
Yeah, no, because he was to the right of you. He is.
Where is he?
He was by the goal. He's by the goal, I think.
Was
right,
he?
Yeah, see the post. Is that him to stand there?
Oh, mate, yeah, I'd fucking hell.
No, I know it's hard for you to see that. Anyway, don't worry.
That's a shit shot, mate. That.
Don't worry.
Who else do you want, mate?
I think it's really.
Chilwell back, might you want? I'm thinking what you might want for shots tomorrow.
Foden.
Reece James.
Try and get
Yeah, Foden. Foden.
That's difficult. Just for the small comparison.
Yeah, man, go on. There he is.
Nice,
Yeah.
mate, thank you.
Well done.
Who else, guys?
Reece James, yeah, no.
Mate, yeah, that's Reece James with a hat on.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe move to Chilwell now, mate. That's not much of a move.
That's Sterling as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Sterling was back to it.
And Mason.
Just stay on that for a minute and hope that Sterling turns around.